Peace, family. It's your brother, Marc Lamont Hill. Day 108 of Israel's war on Gaza. Day 108. We're here today to cover it on Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel. Every day I said I'll cover what corporate media doesn't. We'll continue to tell the stories and spotlight the facts, the data, and the demographics that people are turning their back on. Corporate media has decided that this war is less important than chasing Trump. It's less important than talking about Hamas, but not the war itself. This is a moment where we have to put all eyes on the places that require the spotlight. That means Haiti, that means Sudan, that means Congo, that means Ecuador right now, that means United States, of course, that means all kinds of places, but Palestine must continue to be one of them. I'm asking everybody here to check in. Let me know where you're writing in from. Give me your city, give me your state, give me your country. Shout out to Omega writing in from ATL, Georgia. What do we do for you? We got Barrett Green from Villarreal, Spain. We got Bullet the Bunny from Tennessee. We got Rover from Queens. Appreciate all y'all for writing in. Keep writing in your name, your location as we cover, again, the biggest stories that are happening on day 108 of Israel's war on Gaza. Shout out to Stephanie Marquez from Long Island. Dala Pagarini, 101, Dalapa from Sweden and Bosnia Herzegovina. We got Lena from Kadura, Mehdi Ahmedi from the EU, Humanity 101 from MIA. Take it to the house. Dalia DeCosta from LA, Beyond Ebony B More heading to this. Oh, you talking your shit? I ain't mad at you. My Eagles is out, sister, but I'm still riding. Assalamu alaikum, by the way. Ms. Bree from West Philly, Kelly Oyola from Sierra Leone and Freetown. India, Khadijah's writing from India. Let's keep this conversation going. Keep writing it in the comments. I'm gonna get it popping. No Seth from Montreal, Elias Nuri from Maryland, and Zahra Hoviza from the UK. Shout out to all of y'all. All right, day 108 is marked by, frankly, a greater admission by the Israeli government than we've ever seen before that they have no intention of stopping the war on Gaza. Just yesterday in the afternoon, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that he, quote, outright rejected making a deal with Hamas to end the war. Despite the fact that there's growing pressure in the country of Israel, despite the fact that people were literally marching in Tel Aviv to end the war, to bring back hostages, and to get rid of Netanyahu, Netanyahu is like, nope, I'm going to keep this thing going. Now, obviously, all negotiations have conditions and all ceasefires have conditions. But what Netanyahu is effectively saying is that he doesn't want to end it. In fact, he specifically said that he rejects any deal with Hamas for the release of captives that would end the war. And Israeli politicians, people in his own Knesset, people in his own cabinet, people in his own political party, Likud, people around the nation are all saying something very different. We'll see what happens. Not optimistic. All right. Last night, at least 10 Palestinians, including children, were killed amid overnight Israeli air attacks and shelling and gunfire in Khan Yunis. Khan Yunis is the area in the southern part of Gaza, and that report comes from the Palestinian news agency Wafa. Again, these numbers are continuing to grow in a way that is almost incalculable, but at the same time, it's quite calculable. We've seen over 25,000 Palestinians killed in Gaza already, more than 62,000 people injured. The numbers are just stunning. I'll just stop there for now, but these numbers are stunning, and they are showing no sign of ceasing. As of January 20th, which is Saturday, 2 days ago, according to the United Nations Relief Works Agency, also known as UNRWA, 1.7 of Gaza's 2.3 million people have been internally displaced. 1.7 out of 2.3 million. The internal displacement is the kind of refugee crisis that oftentimes the world doesn't pay as much attention to. You know, people are much more fascinated and enthralled and even engaged when people are forced to other countries, when they're forced to breach the borders of one country and enter those of another. But internally displaced refugees is something that we have to take seriously, and it's something that's been a Palestinian problem, obviously, since 1948. All right. Taxes collected by Israel and bound for Gaza will be held in Norway instead of being sent to the Palestinian Authority. That's according to a statement released by Netanyahu's office. So one of the complaints has been that the PA, the Palestinian Authority, is not receiving tax revenue from Israel. What we're seeing now is Israel, instead of saying that's not true, we're saying that there's a delay on the Palestinian end. They're saying, okay, yeah, we're not even going to send them to the PA. We're going to send them to Norway. We're talking specifically about the funding, not that goes to the West Bank or even East Jerusalem, but specifically the funding that goes to the PA that then would go to Gaza, because PA is still the controlling structure of the entire region, even as Hamas is the ruling party. And so Israel is saying, we're not sending revenue, we're not sending any money. You get nothing. Yeah, so that's it. Yesterday, the Gaza Ministry of Health officially announced that the death toll has crossed 25,000. I just mentioned that, but I think it's important to note that that number is still quite conservative. There are people who believe the number is in the 30s, and we'll find out. But as of now, the Ministry of Health has announced that it's 25,000. Now, some people out there are going to say to you, well, that's what Hamas says. You can't trust Hamas. You know, they're the boogeyman. Hamas's Ministry of Health has never been proven to be wrong. Gaza's Ministry of Health, has never been proven to be wrong. It's also disconnected from the Hamas fighting unit. In other words, the Gaza Health Ministry is not politically tied to the interests of the Hamas, the armed wing of Hamas. So there's no reason to believe that. And then finally, the Gaza Health Ministry numbers are always in line with the numbers offered by other what's the word? I want to say dispassionate, but other groups, neutral groups, politically neutral groups, people who are neither Palestinian nor Israeli, when they step in and count the numbers, the Gaza Ministry of Health numbers are consistent. In fact, sometimes they're considered low. Kamal Lachab asked, is there an exact number of dead people under the rubble? No, there is not. That's why these numbers are conservative. The 25,000 is an easily calculable number, but when you look under that rubble and you start to see the bodies of children, the bodies of adults, you may find that the 25 goes to 30. Again, we don't have a number yet, which is why I'm reporting the number that we do know. We can confirm that 25,000 have been killed. And so that's the number we stick with. But again, that number is likely much higher or significantly higher. Israel has killed 94 university professors, hundreds of teachers, and thousands of students during its war on Gaza. That's according to the Euro-Mediterranean Human Rights Monitor. And I want to also note that the last standing university in Gaza was also destroyed 2 days ago. So there are no remaining institutions of education. There are no remaining schools or universities, K-12 schools or universities, in addition to the crumbling of churches and masajid. Cemeteries have been razed. Archaeological sites that go back thousands of years have been destroyed. And also 94 university professors. What a stunning number. A couple more issues around human fighting and the impact. The United States military said on Sunday that 2 Navy SEALs who went missing in a raid on an Iranian lull supplying weapons to the Houthis have been declared dead. The announcement follows a 10-day search in which the personnel could not be located. Only 7 of the 29, that's 24%, planned humanitarian missions to deliver life-saving supplies to the areas north of Wadi Gaza were accomplished in the first 2 weeks of January. Israeli authorities denied access to the remainder, reported the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, the UNOHCA, or UNOCHA. That means, just to be clear, that there have been 29 attempts to deliver humanitarian supplies to the northern part of Gaza. Or not even just the northern part, just north of that region, right? And only 7 have made it through. And by denying access, Israel is also once again committing probably a war crime. You know, it's up for the ICC to decide. But what we know for sure is if 76% of humanitarian life-saving supplies can't make it through and they're being obstructed for no clear military purpose. In other words, unless these humanitarian caravans are carrying guns or have secret Hamas soldiers in them, there's no reason to block them. It's very clear, though, that the Israeli government will probably tell you that there was a security reason, although there's no clear evidence of it. Let's keep going. About 325 truckloads of food, medicine, and other supplies entered Gaza through the Rafah and Kadam Abu Salam, also known as Kadam Shalom crossings over the weekend. Those truckloads of food entering Gaza through Rafah and Kadam Shalom are incredibly important. And if you remember, up until last week, getting stuff through Rafah and through Kadam Shalom, which is a new piece of the equation, has been very difficult. And in fact, Qatar had to negotiate these deals last week in order to even create some level of access to them. Let's talk about Francesca Albanese for a minute. She came on Twitter yesterday. And if you don't know, she's the UN Special Rapporteur on the occupied Palestinian territories. That's the West Bank. That's also East Jerusalem and Gaza. And she accused Israel of killing a greater share of population in Gaza than the proportion of people killed in the wars in Ukraine and Iraq. So again, and certainly 21st century wars, what we see once again is that Israel has killed more civilians. They've been less precise, and they've killed a great, now according to Francesca Albanese, Albanese, excuse me, and I've interviewed her too. I should know how to say her name. They've killed a greater share of the population of Gaza than we've seen in Ukraine or Iraq, which were wars that we all on the left spoke up against as being so bad. Interesting. It's almost like there's an exception for Palestine. The European Union's 27 foreign ministers have convened a meeting on Israel's war on Gaza in Brussels today. And they will be discussing, or they'll be meeting with Palestinian and Israeli foreign ministers separately. It'll be interesting to see what the Europeans' disposition is on this, because the European Union, while they've been fairly consistent in saying that we do not support forced resettlement of Gazans, there's a very tepid response coming out against the genocide that's happening in the first month. And subsequently, we've seen from some countries. France has been a little more vocal than before. Germany has doubled down. And so it'll be interesting to see what these 27 EU foreign ministers say when it all comes out. Malaysia's foreign minister, Mohammed Hassan, will put forward a proposal for the state of Palestine to become a full member of the UN at meetings in New York this week. I can't wait to see how that plays out. I think I know what the answer is going to be, but let's watch and see. I'm not optimistic. Spoiler alert. We talked a little bit about Palestine's foreign minister before, Riyad al-Malki. He held meetings with several of his counterparts at the 19th summit of the non-aligned movement held in Kampala, Uganda on Sunday. Y'all know the non-aligned movement goes all the way back to the Bandung conference. We go back my math ain't good, seven decades with that now. He discussed Israel's restrictions on humanitarian aid entering Gaza and diplomatic efforts needed to achieve a ceasefire. So hopefully the non-aligned nations, this global southern nation of Black and brown folk, can come up with a statement and something actionable to end this thing. The White House's Middle East coordinator, Brett McGurk, will be heading to Qatar and Egypt this week for talks regarding Israel's war on Gaza and the release of the remaining captives from the besieged enclave, the Times of Israel reported. Real fast, I always like to cover the West Bank because so much stuff happens in the West Bank that gets ignored it gets ignored all the time, but it specifically gets ignored during this time in Gaza. So let's talk real fast. Israeli forces have arrested 6 people during overnight raids in Khalil, also known as Hebron. The local media are saying that so far no one was killed in the night raids. Sadly, that's considered a good night. But also yesterday, Israeli authorities forced a Palestinian resident of the Azayim neighborhood. I'm not super familiar with Azayim. I know it's in, I believe it's in the, what do you call it? Muhafadat al-Quds, like the governorate. Muhafadat al-Quds, right? Azayim is I believe in Jerusalem governorate, but I'm not sure. But anyway, it's east of Jerusalem. That I know for sure. It's east of Jerusalem proper. They made this man demolish his own home within 24 hours. They didn't say why, but Azayim is a Bedouin community, and a lot of people in this community, not that different than like Khan al-Ahmar a few years ago, where people are being forced to leave. They're being forcefully displaced so that settlements can continue to expand, again, against international law. Anyway, y'all, that is the update from Palestine from today. Wanted to give you all that. Let me see if there's any other comments or questions. I want to shout you out. Nevia Beya or Nevia Bella, I'm not sure which one. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. But thank you for the love and thank you for the generous donation. Same thing for ODK, Old Dirty Kung Fu. Appreciate you, nephew. Thank you for being a loyal watcher and for your generous donation. I appreciate y'all. Everybody, keep hitting the like button. If you like the information that's coming out on this channel, make sure you spread the word. Also, join if you haven't hit subscribe, become a part of what we do. Hit like, hit subscribe, and of course, hit the join button. If you want to be a monthly member, you can help expand what we do in the channel. Don't cost a whole lot. $3.99 a month will make it happen. I also love when you just give these beautiful donations like Carpe Diem, who says, does anyone believe that the same regime arming a genocide is trying to give Black people reparations? I don't. My friend, settler colonial state's going to settler colonial state, and I agree. I don't think there's a good faith effort at reparations because I think there's a settler colonial logic that will not allow for it. And I think there's a pragmatic political interest that does not allow for it. And so I agree with everything you just said, Carpe Diem. Thank you for the note. Thank you for the generous donation. Thank you for the wonderful question. And finally, y'all, if you want to make a direct donation to the channel, just go to Cash App. It could be $1. I don't care, man. We appreciate the love. We appreciate the support. We appreciate your commitment to helping us grow and expand the platform. God bless everybody. I'll see y'all soon. In fact, I'll see y'all up soon later today because I got a lot more to talk about. Peace.